This is a brief introduction to makerspaces and makerspaces in Strongsville City Schools. If you Google Strongsville Makerspace, you will find the link that you see on this slide. Our purpose is cultivating a maker culture to provide our students and staff with learning environments that encourage creativity, collaboration, communication, and critical thinking, otherwise known as the 4Cs. We are basing our PD Day around the 4Cs. A quick definition of a makerspace is an area of exploration coupled with a mindset of creativity that encourages people to tinker and play and learn with purpose and joy. Makerspaces are high and low tech. They're science fair and county fair, shop class and craft class. Makerspaces are about doing and about experiences. They build community through collaboration, mentorship, and entrepreneurship, and they promote creation through discovery and failure and determination. Makers are inventors, builders, knitters, artists, crafters, seamstresses, engravers, programmers, engineers, fabricators, and on and on. Above all, a makerspace enables exploration. Seymour Papert is considered to be the father of the maker movement. He was an MIT professor, and he advocated for learning by actively constructing knowledge through the act of making something shareable. Papert worked with Piaget. Piaget advocated the use of active methods which give broad scope to the spontaneous research of the child or adolescent and requires that every new truth to be learned to be rediscovered or at least reconstructed by the student and not simply imported to him. Both were also influenced by John Dewey, who advocated for students to be actively engaged in authentic interdisciplinary projects connected to the real world. An interesting article that's recent, entitled Why It's Time to Lay the Stereotype of the Teen Brain to Rest, states that risky behavior is a normal part of development and reflects a biologically driven need for exploration. Makerspaces help provide an outlet for that exploration. Here's a look at how we are incorporating makerspaces in the district. At the high school level, where we're just getting started and still bringing in equipment and makerspace items, we have classroom application and unstructured student use. As you can see, we have a Carvey, a laser engraver, and a milling machine in these pictures, and we have teachers who have learned how to use these and who are using them with their classes and their students. These are some of the items where students have designed and applied what they've learned via the laser engraver. And these are some items that students and teachers have created on the milling machine and then the router. Some other Strongsville items on the laser engraver. Numerous teachers have been trained, and we will continue training teachers and eventually students how to use the machines. Teachers can design lessons and use the equipment in their classrooms. You see here Kim Scott used the 3D printer for her classroom and the Ozobot robots. We will continue training on the Makerspace equipment so teachers can use them in their classrooms as they see fit. And some other items with the 3D printers. We do have some lesson examples that you can click on the links in the email where you've received this presentation as ideas, but of course in your own content area you're probably going to want to do some research. The lower high school library is reserved for makerspace activities. At this time we're still building that up. We haven't had a formal orientation or introduction, but we will eventually. We are following a train the trainer model, so the next phase will be student and staff badges where students and staff will learn how to use the equipment and they will be able to use it on their own. There's some examples of the digital embroidery machine in the sewing center at the high school, and showing some Strongsville pride through the design process. So there is software. Most of the equipment has some type of software associated with it, so it's learning the design process. At the middle school, they use the station model learning in the library. And you can see here Mrs. Joan Battle working with students who come in, and Mrs. Peck up in the top, and I believe one of the teachers in the top left working with students, bringing them in. There is a lot of unstructured learning that goes on in the Makerspace stations, but there's also structured learning as teachers desire. We have an example here of a Raspberry Pi station. We bought it and students built it, set it up themselves, and have been using it. The elementary level, Kinsner had the first Makerspace last year, and we will have all of the elementaries established by the end of this school year. You can see that students design their own banner, and they also have a Makerspace club that meets before school. Tinkering is a phrase often used at the elementary Makerspace level. It's what happens when you try something you don't quite know how to do, guided by whim, imagination, and curiosity. There's some of the items in the elementary Makerspaces. And we did have a Makerspace summer camp for students, and we would like to continue that for students and for staff. We have a lot of elementary to secondary applications for the equipment. Here's an example of that with the augmented reality sandbox. And we had a staff Makerspace camp, and we'd like to continue that also, where staff members learn about different activities and are able to learn the equipment and consider ways that they can use it in a classroom or just have some fun on their own. We have funding through a lot of different avenues, including the building principals, PTA, SEF, tech department. Recommended reading, if you would like to know more, Invent to Learn and Makers, The New Industrial Revolution are two very good books. And we have some other items here as examples. We also are buying books for the library for students to use and staff members who would like to learn more about different pieces of equipment. How do we continue to develop the 4 C's? We feel that by providing tools, sharing ideas, and giving freedom to explore, we will have the best possible Makerspace experiences in the district. Thank you.